The Rockhead Poacher, the ocean's tiny drummer with a hole in its head. Hey there, ocean lovers. Imagine this. You're poking around rocky tide pools on a crisp morning along the Pacific coast. The waves crash nearby. Suddenly, you spot something weird. A tiny, armored fish no bigger than your thumb wedged between the rocks. It looks like a miniature tank with a massive scoop taken out of its skull. What in the world is that? Meet the Rockhead Poacher, Bothragonus swannii. This bizarre little guy is stealing the spotlight in marine biology right now. And get this. That hole in its head, it's not a flaw, it's a drum. First off, let's talk basics. The Rockhead Poacher lives in the northeastern Pacific, from chilly Alaska down to Carmel Bay in California. It hangs out in shallow intertidal zones, sometimes as deep as 18 meters, but often right at the water's edge. Males top out at just 8.9 centimeters long. That's smaller than a credit card. Described by Austrian ichthyologist Franz Steindachner back in 1876, it started life in science under the genus Hypsogonus. Its name honors James G. Swan, a 19th-century explorer from Port Townsend, Washington. These fish are masters of hide-and-seek. Their heavy, bony armor lets them blend into rocky bottoms, mimicking sea sponges from above. They're poachers in the family Agonidae, bottom dwellers that scooch along using their dorsal fins instead of swimming much. But the real star is that skull. Picture a deep, bowl-shaped pit right in the top of its head. It's as big as the fish's entire brain. Scientists have puzzled over it for years. Early guesses? Camouflage. From overhead, it looks just like a sponge. Solid theory. But recent research says there's more. Way more. Enter Daniel Geldof, a master's grad from Louisiana State University. In 2025, he cracked the case using high-tech scans. Geldof and his team couldn't just grab fresh fish easily. These poachers hide like pros in wave-battered rocks. He describes epic hunts at Deadman Bay in Washington. Low tide hits. A crew of 5 to 25 people forms a bucket brigade. They empty massive tide pools until only puddles remain. Confused critters flop around. Lucky day, a few rockheads appear. But for his study, Geldof used preserved specimens from colleagues, plus relatives for comparison. He fired up the Heliskin MKII, an X-ray micro-CT scanner at LSU's Advanced Microscopy Core. Thousands of images later, boom, a stunning 3D model of the fish's head. Zoom in and it's wild. Tiny rods a few millimeters long line the pit's rear. Microscopic bones, spines point inward. A major branch of the posterior lateral line nerve snakes in two. That's the fish's motion sensing system. The pit picks up water vibrations. Cool. But the smoking gun? The ribs. Check this out. The rockhead's first pair of ribs are freaks. They're huge, flattened, and dense. Unlike other ribs glued to the spine, these float free. Tendons link them to the fish's strongest muscles. They hover right above the pit's hard bottom, which is tougher than the sides. Geldof's model shows they can snap down fast and hard, like drumsticks whacking a drum. That cranial pit, the drum itself. Ribs strike the base. Boom, vibrations ripple out. Why drum? The intertidal zone is a noisy nightmare. Waves pound, currents roar. Waterborne sounds get lost in the chaos. Rockheads rest on the seafloor, so they send vibes through the ground instead. Smart. These buzzes travel via rocks to other poachers nearby, perfect for chatting in the racket. Geldof handled annoyed ones, felt just like a phone on vibrate in your palm. This fish has a tiny drum kit or maraca in its head, he says. It's stridulation on steroids. That's when animals scrape or strike parts to make noise. Other fish do it, but rockheads, extreme pros. Is it just chit-chat? Maybe courtship calls during spawning season. They breed near shore from January to May in the California current, or predator scares. Pick one up and it buzzes like crazy, but Geldof bets on communication. These fish scoot along bottoms. Ground vibes beat water noise. Compared to cousins, rockheads have the biggest pit and best rib setup. They're ocean drummers extraordinaire. Diet time. These mini tanks munch benthic shrimp and crabs. They wedge into crevices, ambushing prey, spawning peaks in winter spring. Females lay eggs in those rocky nooks. Life cycle? Tough. Predators lurk. But that armor and drum help them thrive. Fun fact mashup. Rockheads aren't alone in fish acoustics. Drums real drum fish, grunt with swim bladders. Some sharks rumble. Whales sing epics. But a head drum, unheard of in vertebrates. Geldof's scans revealed nerves and spines inside the pit, maybe amplifiers or tuners. The pit sides might resonate differently. Future studies could record live buzzes, play them back, see who responds. Hunting these fish builds character. Tide pools empty, teams splash, hours pass. Reward? A thumb-sized wonder buzzing in your hand. Geldof's work hit Science magazine, went viral. Suddenly, everyone's Googling rockhead poachers. Marine biology's hot right now. Discoveries like this remind us oceans hide rock stars. Want to find one? Hit low tide on the Pacific coast. Flip rocks gently. Look for armored teardrops with head holes. Leave them be. They're drumming their own symphony. And here's the mind-blowing kicker. That pit isn't missing skull. It's a built-in speaker system, evolved over eons, turning ribs into the world's smallest drumsticks. This fish doesn't just survive the surf. It rocks it. Buzz on, little drummer. The ocean's listening.